Hey all, welcome to a special edition of the FME Fireside with nearly the whole digital engineering team this time. We've got me, Chris, special guest Mars, Hamish and Todd. So it's just a few days before Christmas here, so we're doing a bit of a fun episode in a different spot in the office in front of the tree.
Getting all festive.
Yeah, definitely.
Should have bought my Santa hat.
Yeah, so we all know FME has a support for a huge number of file formats, so what better to do than rank them? So we're doing a tier list, data formats. There's a couple of things to go over. This is all from the point of view of an FME professional, so it's all about reader, writer, ease of use, or what do you like using, what would you choose if you have options, and what's a good format really. Yeah.
And probably also from our use cases, because I know, spending a lot of time on the forums, a lot of people use formats that I've never heard of or never even touched. So
Yes.
it's all from our point of view. But hey, if you've got any thoughts on what we've done wrong or what we've done right, feel free to reach out, and happy to hear it.
Yeah. For the sake of brevity, we've had to shrink down the number of formats because there are hundreds. So there's no integrations or connectors, and none of the abstract feature types like path or schema or null, and a number of those icons represent multiple formats as well.
We have slashed the formats.
Yes.
Yeah. I made a bigger list, and I was like, no.
It's a very high-level list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be interesting from my perspective, given that I'm pretty new to my career in digital engineering space. So I'm actually curious to see if I know all these formats or
You're
not.
looking at that first icon.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, this is the default sorting just from alphabetical order, but we can go through it in that order.
I've got opinions on 12D.
All right, 12D XML, or 12DA. Experience of it is that people who work in 12D don't use 12D XML. They will use 12DA, which is just a text file format, which is entirely custom. And if you've ever tried writing your own reader for 12DA, you can, but good luck.
Yep.
And
it's all string based, and for me it's a D.
The other thing that I think we're forgetting to mention around 12D is it's very much an Australasian-based format.
Okay.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's a real worldwide format, but it's very popular in Australia, New Zealand, and surveying.
Yeah. From a point of view, for me, it's like if someone's working in 12D, it becomes a barrier to getting data in and out of working with it.
And amazingly, I would say DWG is better than 12D.
Well, we can bring it up now.
I think.
AutoCAD. So this is DWG 3D.
Just all AutoCAD formats.
FME's ability to work with DWG is excellent,
DWG,
especially with, we've got real DWG and just the DWG thing. Lots of ability, control, all sorts of things. Get into blocks and all.
True.
All the DWG style is.
If you just read DWG, it carries through all the colours and the appearance is quite similar to working in AutoCAD.
So it's a pretty mid.
So as a format, I think B.
Yeah.
You do have some problems, whereas if you have a DWG file, you don't quite know which one it is.
Yeah.
Out of all the different readers.
And I found something on the forums a couple of weeks ago where someone was reading in a DWG, and FME, as it does, and as we all know, it reads in everything. But when it was actually written in AutoCAD, it was not reading in some things because it had been excluded in some way. And the other user was really confused as to why FME was showing stuff that wasn't visible. And so,
the thing about DWG that I always think of is it's one of those formats, like an OGC standard. It allows you to do so much, but because of that, people take different angles on how they utilise it, and that can lead to some differences. The other thing about DWG as a format is often our bad experiences come from people utilising it in a way that they can, but is not great.
Yeah.
So a lot of the time, it's not the issue with the format; it's the issue with what someone's done with that format.
Yeah, definitely. We'll take the last CAD format here. So we've got MicroStation, DGN.
Never used that.
The only thing I see about these days is people complaining about coordinate system support.
Do you know, yesterday I gave a presentation about something I built in ArcMap in Arc Objects back in 2007, 2006. That was probably the last time I ever played with MicroStation back then as well, and I did not like it. But
like functionally as a format, it's pretty similar to CAD. It's just like different and just not as good. I don't know. Yeah,
So C's the perfect spot for it.
The main thing I'm pointing out is the coordinate system just is like, it doesn't really have coordinate systems like
yeah.
and so you get some data and you're like, where is this?
Is that meant to be Bentley MicroStation or something?
Yes.
Yeah, good car. Yeah. That's all I know.
Yeah. Right. Next up is a big one. So this is ArcGIS Enterprise. So this is combining server, portal, and AGOL together.
So sort of through the REST endpoints.
Through
You mean
everything.
Through everything?
Just in terms of just like, if you're working with those sorts of systems.
You've got the portal reader, you've got the feature
reader.
server.
So originally, I have different opinions on different parts of this. If it's like ArcGIS server, then like top of S tier almost, because like the ubiquity of it is just like ArcGIS feature services, the proliferation of open data online, this is like, that's incredible.
And it's a standard, and it's so, you build something for one system and it will work on another system to read data in. Whereas some of these other platforms, you actually need to change the way you read data in for whatever different environment, what different client you're reading it in for.
Yeah, I'd say reading is a lot easier than writing.
Yeah.
Experiences with Portal is, authentication is a bit of a ball ache, but
So what I was
I think high A, low S as a general.
okay.
the way it can do everything.
Yep.
I think one of the things, and I'm surprised Mars hasn't spoken up around some of the fun he might have been having with tokens. Because,
a lot of different types.
Authorization of 2 is fine, but then you get into portal tokens versus server tokens and all that sort of stuff, and knowing the differences between the two,
And when you need to exchange them and when you're...
it's a beast of a system, and it's great.
It's not just something. It's not something you can simply just write to and read and use. And yes, you do need to kind of.
There's a few hoops to jump through,
And also, like when you get into where things sit, one of my favourite, or maybe least favourite things, is when you're talking about like WebMap, where you can hold symbology at WebMap level, but you can also hold symbology at feature level and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And
that
can access all those things, but knowing where those things are is always quite tricky.
All right. Good old CSV. This is the
Just native CSV.
just native CSV, text
Comma
based,
separated.
delimited by something or other.
Yep.
Could be tab, could be comma.
Could be bar.
You'll often have it as a reader, but not often as a writer.
Yeah.
It's kind of it's good for getting data in and out of like other systems. Like a lot of things will spit out data in CSVs.
And I find it's a real good human interoperable format as well, that you can give someone a CSV and they'll be able to read it and parse it.
Yes.
Even if they don't have Excel, you can open up it in a text file and you can get a really good idea of what the data contains.
Do you remember when, and you might not, when the CSV reader in FME used to allow you to do things like filters and stuff within the reader?
No.
Going back a few years, and it's been rewritten since then, and it's probably better now than it was, but there used to be a few little functions in there that were quite interesting.
I reckon A tier. A tier, definitely.
The one thing, I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head, we were talking about the other day, the thing that puts a schema around CSV.
Yes, there are ways you can do a schema file separate to a CSV.
The OGC.
Yeah, there is a name for it.
There is a name for it. That takes it to another level. Yeah.
Cool. In contrast to that, how about the old Excel spreadsheet?
It's good
Which
for a
many
purpose.
people would confuse, but obviously they're very different.
It's good for a purpose.
Good for a purpose. Yeah.
And
it depends if you're reading or writing. I would favour a reader a lot higher than I would favour writing Excel.
It depends who the person it's going to is, I reckon. It's very useful, but like if someone was asking me for an Excel spreadsheet of an outcome, and
I'll be asking why.
Like if they were going to start doing calculations and all that sort of stuff in there, I'd be like, well, why don't we just do it here?
Yeah.
Yeah, with an Excel reader, it's one of the most common ones you're going to have to go into the parameters for and change some setting somewhere because they've started the data on a different line, or
it's only read the first 1,000 rows to get the field length, and you need to actually go and increase it so you read all the data in.
Yeah, and then the writer suffers from the issues of it interprets the varchar width as the column width, and it will convert data into Excel kind of data types which aren't really data types.
And Excel workbooks can get quite complicated with different sheets, different layouts, and I know it's getting better.
Yeah, there's a lot of control there around truncating the sheet before you're writing.
True. But I find myself writing in Excel just as much as I read it, because I work quite closely with the transport side of the business, and they do love their Excel sheets.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yes,
It's got its purposes.
it does have its purposes. Jump down the line a little bit to FFS.
Yes.
You just made that icon up, didn't you?
I had to edit it to have
so we knew what it was.
Because you realize a lot of these things don't have icons. Normally, the icon is set by whatever software that reads it, but FFS is FME's
It's
file
the best abbreviation name I've ever heard. I don't know what they were getting at there, but
Yeah, S tier for storing things temporarily. That's going to be read and write to FME. It's no brainer because it's the native format. It's what FME runs on. When you read your data in, it is saved in memory in a temp drive in an FFS.
I still want to know who was the person that came up with the name, though, and why. Yes. The feature format.
The only thing, in my opinion, that FFS needs is some other software out there to support it, so you can be like, "Oh, here's an FFS file."
Yeah,
because then it's just
like a standalone reader.
Yeah, like a plugin for some other system, so they can support FFS. That would be really cool.
It's rather large, though. So
it is not compressed. It is more intended for that kind of temporary, because it makes it, if it's not compressed, it's faster to read and write. So
yes,
but
definitely S tier.
But obviously it supports everything.
Yeah.
Oh, that was easy.
One format to rule them all.
There we go.
Data. So there's a data file reader, and so this kind of represents like generic binary.
Yeah.
I've only had to use this once, really, and that was because it was a super specific, proprietary format, and you had to kind of read it as binary and pull it apart. If you have to use this reader, something's really gone wrong, and you don't really want to.
I'm not.
Yeah.
There'd be other things that I'd do.
D tier.
It's there, but
it exists.
Yeah.
All right, Microsoft Word. So Todd has had a lot of experience with this recently. So obviously there was only a writer for it.
Yeah. I was actually talking about this yesterday with one of our ex-colleagues, Andrew Wilson, who talked about how he'd been utilising it as well to write out reports and things. And it being, as he said, quite painful.
To put it nicely.
It is quite painful, but it does have a good purpose in being able to make data consumable for a range of different users that wouldn't necessarily get the data like we get the data. So I like it because I can write a report once and then push the button and I can automatically create a new report. Without, because my spelling is dreadful.
Is it?
Yeah, it is. So
I reckon middle of the pack.
It's got a purpose. It's quite irritating.
Yep.
Right. What about then in that case PowerPoint as the third of the Microsoft?
I haven't used the PowerPoint stuff, but I am not a fan of PowerPoint in general. So,
I can see why it's been included as sort of an output format for the package, because it does complement Excel and Word.
Yeah.
But I'm not exactly sure why.
Yeah,
it's needed.
It's more of a party trick.
Yeah.
Mm.
And to be honest, I'd probably drop it one lower.
Yeah.
Simply because I don't really see a
There's not.
purpose.
Yeah.
Drop on top of D.
I
Yeah.
probably, it's just PowerPoint in general. I'd put it down there. Yeah.
Mm.
All right. Geo database.
Oh. I loved it when it was introduced in 2007 or whatever, going back in time, as a single folder file structured database. I think it's absolutely fantastic. There's a free API out there.
Yeah.
It does lots of good things.
And you can store, much like FFS, you can store a lot of different data types in a GDB.
Yeah, I think one of the things that we're seeing 15 plus years later is there's now other ones that we'll probably talk about that are coming on that will probably be the downfall of GDBs.
But if it is the downfall, it will have a long tail
Yeah.
because it's still very useful.
Shapefiles are around.
Yep.
We are
I
talking
mean,
about those,
speaking of, see, this is shapefile's a difficult one. Because
shapefile.
its depth within the GIS industry is just so strong.
And because it's kind of an open kind of format, it's being used everywhere.
Yeah.
But we've got
my
limitations all over the show.
My favorite common thing that I see with shapefiles, especially when you're dealing with someone who doesn't know what a shapefile is they just send you the .shp. They don't send you the DBF or the projection file, or because I think there's 4 files that are required at minimum, but there's about 8 in total. They just send you the SHP, and you're like, I need everything else.
Yeah.
Its structure is being made of separate files, and it has to be zipped up in order to actually ship it or use it. And the column width limitation.
That's the annoying bit.
Yeah.
That's the most annoying one that I find.
And field name limitation.
Yeah.
But also the length of the character length as well.
Oh, yeah,
So
true.
both
yeah.
the name and character. I think the one thing the foundation of that kind of the table, the DBF. One thing I noticed yesterday is that in Excel you can't save to a DBF anymore,
Oh, they've got rid of that.
and therefore I think
It's going.
Yeah. If you can, it didn't seem to be visible in my Excel.
Yeah, I think looking where you put it, C. It's a good C, but it's a C.
Yeah.
I may have to get a move on the batteries dying. All right. GeoMedia, I just got added in here for me. GeoMedia Warehouse, you can write to it. The problem is that it doesn't really work well in terms of
There used to be that whole 32-bit thing as well.
It's suffered from the change to 64-bit.
Yeah.
It doesn't have, GeoMedia has its own metadata you need to create along with tables.
Never used it.
And with our implementation of the council, we couldn't even use the writer because it required permissions on tables to edit them in order to write data to them. So, as in restructure the table in order to write to it. Not good. Only included 2 raster formats here. So first up, we'll go ECW, which is a very compressed kind of lossy format, but works great for aerial imagery. And
Strengths? Compression.
Yes.
Disadvantages, proprietary format, not compression per se, but the artifacts around compression.
Yeah.
So you don't get a clean boundary where your aerial survey finishes.
Yeah.
And ECW also doesn't support transparency.
Yes, yeah, its own color. Yeah.
So I reckon, unfortunately,
I'm almost going lower now. Like ECW again, I'm going to break out is like a really old format.
Yeah.
And I know TIFF's really old as well, but just I don't know. Some more.
Throw it down, we'll see.
Yeah.
Somewhere around.
But then TIFF, and that's
GeoTIFF, which is the
A
kind of
tier.
ubiquitous.
Yeah.
It's good.
I mean,
You can
it's rather
compress it, you
large.
can have it raw,
Yeah.
transparency, multi-band, multi-spectral.
You've got the cloud optimized versions of it now.
Yeah.
Yes.
And all sorts of
And
stuff.
an open-ish format, you can store metadata with it because it's got the header. You can have your world files alongside to define the projection. You can store all of that in the TIFF file as well.
I'm a fan of TIFF.
And using an FME, it's just seamless.
Yeah,
Yes.
it just works.
How about GML?
Oh.
Well, you can move XML. You got XML there as well.
Yeah, we do have XML here as well.
Let's put them all together. GML, bastardized XML.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not wrong.
Not.
So C or D, like.
It's got a purpose. I'm going to say C.
Yeah, I haven't had any experience with GML.
But with I think of like the SSDs and all the other stuff that goes along with it. It can get so confusing and different implementations of it, and
it's kind of like fragile kind of.
Oh yes. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. That's actually a really good way to describe it. It's fragile, and much like XML as well. It's a fragile format, and at least I haven't been around for that long in the schemes of things, but I think the likes of JSON has just blown XML capabilities out of the water in terms of the structures,
it's the size of
the readability, the overhead.
Yeah.
And I know there are certain members of the wider FME community who do really enjoy XML, but I'm definitely not one of them.
Yeah, it's similar to the data file. Like if you're having to use like an XML reader, then it's kind of like.
It's old.
Yeah.
It's old. Yeah. Unlike me, some of these things are old. Yeah.
I've never worked with XML.
Yeah, I reckon.
So you don't need to have seen it.
Yeah, it's not quite as bad as everything below it, but it's still not great.
Yeah.
It's like shapefile.
Just right next to it, yeah.
Right. How about part 3, KML?
No, worse.
Again, has its uses, but those uses can be.
I had one good experience with KML, where it's just like I tried to build a generic reader for it, and then we got like 3 different applications, wrote 3 different types of KML files.
Yeah.
I had to like work with it. It was no longer a generic reader for KML.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing I like about KML is its derivative KMZ, which is actually just a zip file with KML in it.
Like lots of things.
Yeah, like lots of things are.
Yeah. Right. We'll go to the other branch, JSON. This also includes GeoJSON. And
A, maybe even S. For web interactions, across networks.
Yeah.
That is very good.
Everything.
Yeah. And for bridging from that technology perspective, bridging that technology gap. So you look at, say, Esri REST services, they're pushed out via JSON. Yeah. If I'm doing some work interacting with a front-end developer, the first language or the only language we really agree on for that interoperability, that interaction, is JSON, because it can be read by JavaScript, it can be read by C++, it can be read by FME.
My only issue with JSON is how some people implement it, and that comes down to how you store numbers or dates or strings. I'm thinking like long as it's strongly typed, but there's no defined. Yeah, well, I
set.
mean, exactly. So some people will store numbers as a string in their JSON. Others won't, and they'll store it as a number, so you don't get the double quotes. Other dates, there is a defined ISO date that you're supposed to be using in JSON, but other times it'll come through as an epoch or etc. And it's again just implementation, but as a format, it's very good.
100%.
Yeah, that is very flexible. GeoPackage. It's kind of weird. There's no real good icon for GeoPackage. This is one of the official ones, but
that's going to be the.
And this also includes SQLite and Spatialite. So from FME's point of view, Spatialite and GeoPackage are
the same,
basically the same.
Maybe even S.
Yeah,
I go to this as my kind of like just local storage of spatial data is GeoPackage now.
Yeah.
Well,
and because it's a single file database, so you can do all your database operations on it.
And it's open and all those other things. And also, if we take a look at Esri and the geodatabase, they have now got the mobile geodatabase, which is again based on SQLite.
Yeah, it's just adding the functionality on top of a SQLite database.
Yeah.
So,
and that whole mobile approach, it's one file that has everything in it.
Yeah.
So
one great thing I like about GeoPackage is you can interact with it with the SQL transformers inside of ULOF and use a SQL Creator to get the data out of it, just because you can be more customized with what you're getting.
Yeah,
it's really good.
Yeah.
GPX. So this is a XML-based format for GPS devices.
For its use.
For its use,
Yeah.
is fine. Would you have a right to
Would
it?
you have a right to it?
No.
Unless you were working with an older unit that that you say had to have waypoints
Yeah.
that you had to then send it as a GPX. But I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's just you're working with the limitations of the hardware.
I'd almost class it as like an exchange format.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep. Yeah, you have it.
it's
Right.
something that lots of things. But in
Isn't
lots
that
of
what I
ways,
mean?
like
Is it?
As the X exchange.
It's the X exchange.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Geo something exchange. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it's but because it's more constrained, it actually works. Unlike, XML. HTML. So it includes HTML table reader, but also kind of writing to HTML. But you wouldn't really write data to an HTML. It's not really a great place to.
I find so similar lines to what you were saying before, Todd, around reporting in Microsoft Word, reporting in HTML via emails.
Yep, HTML report generator is
report generator.
really good. Just kind of way to present data in kind of clean way that you can use.
It's very rare that I write to HTML, but sending emails, I will send the email as an HTML email and use that to format.
I think the problem I'll have with HTML is that it, what does it do? It kind of, everyone implements everything slightly differently. It's one of those formats that you can do everything in. But not it's super in love with it.
Yeah. And the HTML reader, in fact, was what helped you get that COVID map out super quick during that time, because you were at Ministry of Health at the time were updating their website, and it was all it was basically tables.
OpenStreetMap. So if you're using this data, then this can be quite a useful.
Are we going with PBF or are we going with?
I'm using the base kind of.
OSM is cool.
Yeah. All right. We're running out of battery. On more than just the laptop, I think. We're getting the 5-minute timer from behind the camera.
Yeah, right. We'll leave OSM there. It's kind of a good transfer format. You can run rights to it or upload.
It's really good.
Kind of way,
It's really good.
Yeah, neat way of kind of joining stuff together. PDF.
D.
Where data goes to die.
D. Can we just leave it off the list?
It's still got again. It's your reporting thing.
Yeah. But detail.
Oh, reading from PDF. Oh.
Dead format.
Yep. I'll go through a couple of the database formats. We've got Postgres, PostGIS.
I'm going to rate them all the same.
Yeah.
Because
they all work.
They all do slightly different. You know, we've got kind of those companies that want the enterprise ones like MS SQL Server. Yeah. But they do a good job of it.
Yeah. And again, it comes to your use case.
Yeah.
How you implement the data that you get out of it and what you're actually using it for.
I think one of the things was, and I'm going back in time, when Oracle location kind of existed. And yeah, exactly. And then,
that reminded me of what was the P4, P6.
No, that's all right. But as Microsoft SQL came online, as we got Postgres and stuff like that, these kind of spatial formats grew to the top and all became a lot easier to utilise.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of SQL Spatial.
Yeah.
Google Cloud, so includes like Google Sheets or Google Drive. My experience with this is you'll come across a process and the API has changed. Yeah.
I've done the same. You build something, come back to it in 6 weeks' time, something's changed and it no longer works.
Yeah. Haven't used it really, but yeah.
We'll throw it down in C tier. Cloud.
Yeah.
Mapping for tab. Haven't had to use one of these for a while, but
limitation.
Never used it.
I'm going,
going down C tier.
Yeah, it's like the shapefile, same kind of error.
Yeah.
There's different. It's got some uses. No 3D data, no.
So no Z values.
No Z values from memory. Not.
That's not ideal.
Not a fan. And also, I blew out the length of the annotation on something.
Well, that's your fault.
Yeah, it was rather long.
OGC Web Services, so WFS, WMS.
So I'm going to say WFS, WMS, yeah, they've got their place in history.
Yeah. They're still pretty heavily used.
I remember post-Quake when we put up a WFS service and we're like, oh, we're doing open data, we need to share it. And then everyone's like, how do we use this?
WFST, yeah. I mean,
WFST.
Yeah, I mean, it's all built on GML and stuff with WFS. And WMS, you know, with sending images, it's all right.
Yeah, it's like a geodatabase, a shapefile. It still is used, but it's got its limitations.
Yeah,
it's a bit long in the tooth.
The OGC features API is what I'm more interested in coming up.
Interesting. Yeah. And finally, text file, which is a
very broad.
You
can read anything as a text file if it's text based.
Often I'll read CSVs as text files.
Yeah, I do like text file.
I reckon A tier.
It's very simple, does its job.
Yeah.
You can do kind of anything with it.
We'll put it next to CSV up there.
Definitely.
And so this is obviously, we've got this absolutely correct.
Oh, 100%. If anyone disagrees with us,
they're wrong.
They're wrong. Yeah.
Now I know what formats I should be working with.
Yeah.
So ignore the rest.
Tomorrow when we come across this, we'll be like, oh, yeah, no, that's wrong. No.
Right, so thank you for joining us with this extended edition of the FME Fireside here, Christmas 2023 at Abley. I've been Chris, Mars, Hamish, and Todd.
Oh, have a good Christmas, everyone.
Yeah.
Yep.
See you later.
Bye.
See you later.